Lexus is coming off of another record month, and there's no doubt that there's more Lexus on the road today than there has been in a very long time. So with that, today I'm going to be going over 5 scenarios that every Lexus owner should know how to deal with. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Scenario number 1 is one that is going to happen to almost every Lexus owner at some point in their ownership experience, and that is what to do if you have a dead battery in your key fob. Yes, modern day technology is great, but it still relies on a power source, and these little keys are jam-packed with circuitry. So the first thing you're going to want to do is press the release button on your key fob, and it's just a little rocker switch. It kind of just goes in and out, and you're going to pull out what is called the key shank. That is this little weird shaped blade with like a squiggly line down the middle. That's your key now. That's the teeth is right there. And you'll see in the inside of your key, there's a little divot there, and you just use the end of your key shank to pry open that little spot, and you'll see the face of the key just comes off. Don't be scared, there's circuits and stuff in here, and there's a little battery. So this battery is a CR2032, and then you just pop it back together. And I will say it's never been so easy, because it used to be when you did this, the whole key itself would fall apart, and now it's a lot easier. So no excuses there, but that's only one step. The other step is how do you get into the car with that key shank? And I'm gonna show you something. This is a car in our showroom, so I'm gonna do it the safe way. And I do have a full video on this because you'll see the new door handle on RX and NX is very flush. There's not much going on there. But not many people know there is a couple levers and hidden trapdoors and things like that. I'm using a plastic tool because this is a car that is going to go to a new home, and it's not my home, so I wanna be extra careful. And I'm just gonna pop open this little back panel here. So here's the handle, the little back is right here, and I'm actually just gonna pull it towards me. A lot of times people think that this opens towards the back of the car, like slides with the handle. That's how you break them. I've broken many of these, and they're pretty cheap to replace. And then, so you just pop it out towards you, and once that's out, you put it in your pocket, and you get out your key shank again, and now you can actually use that in the hole and turn it. And you gotta turn it twice to activate. And then once you unlock it, you can pull on this little lever here. So there's another little lever right here, and you can pull it. And I always pull that again twice too, because that's how you open it. And now you can get into your car with a dead key fob. Now, once you're in the car, you might think, well, Dustin, I still can't start the car because it's a dead key fob. All you have to do at this point is hold your key up to the start button. So just hold it up to it for like 30 seconds, not even. I even just press the button with the key fob. And even if your battery is dead, it'll pick up on that transmitter, and you'll be able to start your car, even with a dead key. Okay, scenario number 2 is also going to happen to you at some point, and that is how to start your car if it has a dead battery. Now, the one beside me is an RX 350. This is the gas model or turbo model. So it's gonna be pretty straightforward compared to like other vehicles that you might have learned growing up, maybe in high school shop class or whatever. There's a big battery under here, and it's labeled very nicely. You can see red is for positive, and you can flip open that flap, and this one is negative. Now, when boosting a car, my shop class taught me to not use the negative part of the battery. Instead, ground somewhere. There is a spot over here. You just want to be careful to not ground it to like a module, because of under the hood, there's all these little metal parts that are actually computers. One of them is right here beside the battery. So don't ground it to a computer, just due to the engine block or the negative post. It's not the end of the world, I don't think. This one is pretty straightforward and easy. The trick, however, might be this car. So here is an NX hybrid. This is a 450h Plus. And if we look under the hood of this one, which by the way is an executive demo, I used to drive one of these, they are great. You might notice there is no battery under here. And my car is dead. So what am I to do? Well, we gotta get to the trunk, because the trunk is actually where the battery is stored. And how we're gonna get there, because it's a power trunk, don't forget, it's not like we can just go like pull a lever somewhere. It's powered, and the car's locked, or maybe just the trunk is locked, because we got in through that method I already showed you. That's the same, by the way. And we're gonna find this little post right here. And this post, you can clamp a positive booster cable to that, and then find a ground somewhere. Like I said before, you could use something like in the frame, or I actually, on the NX 450H Plus, it's got this hook right here. I really like that because it's big, heavy metal. And once you power that up, we would be able to get into the trunk. And that's exactly where we're gonna go right now. Now, I will say, if you had a trunk full of stuff, it might be hard. We can now power it up because we have power going to the front. And once we get back here, we need to get to the battery. So we gotta move some stuff around, which isn't too hard because this is a showroom model. We're gonna open up the carpet here. There's a lever, and we're gonna open up the lever. You'll see you have extra storage, by the way. Not a lot of people know that. And then there's a trap door. And under that trap door is our standard issue car battery. And just like on the RX, there's a flap for the positive, there's a negative. It's pretty straightforward. Even though it's a plug-in hybrid, it still has a regular 12-volt battery that it needs to be able to start the engine. And that's how you get at it, to be able to boost it or change it or whatever you have to do. Scenario number 3, and this is one I don't think is gonna happen, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, because it's definitely less common, and that is a flat tire. Now, on the RX, this is an RX gas, as I mentioned. It's a higher package, so we have a nice big wheel setup, and we actually have a spare tire. So if you come to the back and see that under our fake floor, so again, we're just gonna move that carpet, and people don't realize there's a lot of extra space underneath. We have a full-size spare. Now, is this spare a full-time permanent solution? No, it's still a temporary spare tire, but it is already inflated, and I think it does even have a sensor. I know some of the higher models do. And we have everything we need here. So we have our jack. There's some tools hidden amongst this cabin as well, especially when you take the tire out. The one thing that some people might forget to look for, because it can be back here, and sometimes it's in the glove box, is if you have a wheel nut key. Because as you can see, sometimes lug nuts have a key. And you can see this one here has a little design to it. There's usually about 10 to 12 different variations. All that is to protect people from stealing your wheels and tires. And you just need that key to be able to remove this tire. Please follow the manual or use the internet to find jack points and do all those things. And I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you know what you're doing. I would say just call roadside assistance or your local tow truck company. The NX is a little harder because, as you saw when we opened the trunk a few minutes ago, there was no spare tire. And these are run flats, and you can tell by these little ridges around the run flats. I don't know if all makes and models of tires do that, but that means you can actually drive on this tire, if it's flat, for a pretty solid amount of time to be able to get to a service station, B, the side of the road and call for roadside assistance, or at least get where you're going to be able to deal with it. And I know I've had a lot of my guests complain about this. They won't buy an NX because, an NX hybrid especially, because it has run flats. And a lot of times I just ask them, when was the last time you had a flat tire? And what did you do? Did you change it on the side of the road, or did you call roadside assistance? Are you ever driving anywhere where you won't be able to get assistance? Like, are you going in the middle of the Mojave Desert, or however it's pronounced? And if that's the case, bring a spare tire for sure, put it in the trunk. And now people say, like, it used to be that if you had a run flat, the car rode tight and heavy because that sidewall was so stiff. I challenge you to get in an NX hybrid and tell me that there is any stiffness in that car. It's so smooth, and the run flats were all calculated into the part of that equation. It was never an afterthought. Lexus knew what they were doing. So that's scenario number 3. Now, the fourth scenario is a little bit less about the car and more about the people in the car, which is the most important part of any travel or journey. And that is what to do in a medical emergency. And yes, I have to put a little bit of a remark here that says seek medical professional help if you have an emergency, but sometimes you gotta do first aid. And not a lot of people know this, but every Lexus comes with this little kit. And no, it's not the books. The books is like a bigger one of these leather bound cases that always seem to have the plastic still on them. And in here is a little medic kit. Now, I am not trained at all in any sort of first aid, but I do know what I see here. So we have some tweezers, which is good, especially if you're hiking and you got maybe a sliver of some sort. We have medical grade scissors, which is also important for any type of emergency. In this little corner, actually we have the whole list of what's in here. This one is a survival blanket. I actually didn't know that was in there. That's super interesting. because it retains body heat, it provides protection all weather, it's reflective. That is a lifesaver right there. We also have some tape, some gauze, a whole bunch of other stuff over on this side. Some more of that wrap tape. We have actual just bandages, which is nice. Clothespins. This, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the best wardrobe malfunction safety net. I'm gonna remember this because there's been times where I'm out and I lose a button on a pant and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have to deal with this all day now. Meanwhile, if I'm driving my Lexus, I have those. And there is some alcohol swabs, disposable gloves, so if you do have to touch anybody, a sling, and I think that's it. I'm gonna check the manifest. We got scissors, emergency blanket, fingertip bandage, okay. Adhesive bandage, so there's 2 types of bandage, adhesive tape, tweezer safety pin or wardrobe malfunction pin, conforming bandage, triangular bandage, antiseptic towelette. So that's also a very important one because if you do get a cut and you need to sanitize it quickly, your Lexus can help with that. Gauze pads and trauma dressing. These are very important to note. In all my years at Lexus, I never have gone over that with a guest in detail like this. So I think it's super important. I think it's great that Lexus does it free of charge, by the way. That's a difference between even Lexus and Toyota, because when I worked at Toyota, Toyota never had these. Maybe now in like the 4Runners and stuff they do, I'm not too sure. But at least back then they didn't. And as you saw, there's some pretty useful things to know in here. Like I think of that blanket, and last year there was a pretty big snowstorm here in Canada, and I remember reading that people died because they were stuck in their car on the side of the road and they've caught hypothermia. And thinking that your car, your Lexus, has a thermal blanket in the back could have saved lives perhaps. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's good enough to note. Make sure you know where it is, make sure you've seen it, make sure you have it handy, and make sure you check it every once in a while. Could help you. The 5th scenario is an easy one. That is how to change your wiper blades on the RX or the NX. Mostly the RX, because they really do tuck away quite well. You can see when I go to lift them up, I can't because the hood is in the way. But all you have to do is go inside. What you're gonna do is hold the lever for 3 seconds and it'll go up all the way to the full extension. And now it is very safe and easy to remove those wiper blades because you can fully function them. For the back, because the RX has a hidden wiper in the back, you just cycle it on and off and it'll stop halfway. And that's how you replace that. So there you have it, a quick video on 5 scenarios that every Lexus owner should know what to do in those certain cases, especially for the RX and the NX, which are our most 2 popular models. And let me know in the comments below, are any of these surprise you? And is there any that I should touch on in my next video? I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus content.